Day 2 of the Australian Open brought us a few more surprises than its predecessor, especially on the women's side. It was a terrible day to be a lefty-seated player as Angelique, Kerber, Petra, Kvitova, and Leylah Fernandez all lost in straight sets. Angie and Petra's losses weren't too surprising because first, Kerber, who lost to Kanepi 4-3, didn't play any lead-up tournaments due to a recent COVID infection. Combine that with getting a new coach, plus playing a giant killer in Kanepi in round 1, and you'll be fighting an uphill battle. Petra Kvitova lost to Sorana Cirstea 6-2, 6-2 in 71 minutes. I'm not surprised that Petra fell early here because she's been struggling for a while, but to lose so handily like this is a bit concerning. She hasn't looked like herself at all the past 9 months and doesn't appear to be enjoying herself out there on court. Hopefully she can find her happiness, whether that be on the court or off. Then of course, the big shocker of the day is Leylah Fernandez falling to world number 133, Maddison Inglis 6-4, 6-2. Giving credit to Inglis, she played a very smart match. She counterpunched really well, but also managed to not give any pace for Leylah to work with. She took advantage of any small opening to get the 19-year-old on the move. This was just Inglis's 5th slam appearance and first ever win at a major, but you wouldn't have been able to tell with how well she played. Now Leylah didn't play her best at all. She served poorly and made nearly 4 times as many unforced errors as winners. I don't think this is any huge cause for concern because first, there are reports that Fernandez was struggling with a back injury. She also should be commended for her fight as she remained positive all the way through. I think this would be a tough period for Fernandez because like with Raducanu, more eyes are on her and players will start to get a better feel for her game. She has the skill and mental toughness to get through this, but it's definitely not going to be a walk in the park. Maddison Inglis next plays another inexperienced slam player like herself as 20-year-old Maryland native Hailey Baptiste pulled off a comeback win over Caroline Garcia to win her first Aussie Open match. Hailey has a really intriguing game to watch as she's comfortable hitting almost any shot. She's had to work her way to this stage too, coming through qualifying, so shout out to her. Now, I was talking about Raducanu a bit early and fully focusing on the Brit. She passed her first test with flying colors, upending fellow US Open champ Sloane Stephens 6-love, 2-6, 6-1. I know the scoreline's really wacky, but it was a much more competitive match than it appears on paper. Emma came out guns a-blazing, dominating on serve and making just 2 errors in the first set. However, Sloane started to wake up in the second, hitting with more conviction while frequently changing up the height and spin. This extracted more errors from the 17th seed, but she managed to turn the tide once more on the decider to claim her first ever win here in Melbourne. I was surprised to see Raducanu react like she did. It's almost like she won a major. It is understandable though because first, Sloane is always a tough opponent, and then two, Emma's been subjected to some heavy criticism, especially after getting crushed by Raducanu last week in Sydney. She definitely looked more like her slam winning self, but there's still a lot more work left to do. I do want to briefly give credit to Sloane for fighting her way through despite being blown out in the first set. It was always going to be difficult for her as she got married just 2 weeks ago, then traveled to Melbourne without any match play. I think if she stays the course, she'll have a strong 2022 showing. Emma's now 1 match away from a meeting with her idol Simona Halep, the Romanian advancing in straight sets past Magdalena French. Gerbian Muguruza also dropped 7 games in her opening round win, staving off a late comeback from Clara Burrell. Iga Swiatek followed Muguruza on laver and looked in devastating form, crushing Harriet Dart 6-3, 6-love. She's still on course for a 3rd round battle against Kasatkina, who also dominated today. Sam Stosur, who's playing her final singles tournament here in Australia, is still alive after beating American Robin Anderson 6-7, 6-3, 6-3. I'm glad to see that Sam's getting her final win at her home slam, especially because she struggled to perform well here in the past. It likely will be curtains up next for her as she now plays 10th seed Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, but who knows, maybe she'll get the upset. 6th seed Annette Kontaveit looked incredibly good in her first round match, dominating Katerina Siniakova 6-2, 6-3. The Estonian has a very tricky draw, now playing talented Danish teen Clara Tauson. Danielle Collins is a possible 3rd round opponent for Kontaveit, but she'll need to get by Anna Konja, who outlasted Shelby Rogers in 3 tight sets. Elena Rybakina had a scare, saving a match point to outlast compatriot Serena Diaz. 2nd seed Arna Sabalenka also survived a stern test, recovering from a set and break deficit to beat Aussie Storm Sanders 5-7, 6-3, 6-2. Sabalenka's serve looked much better than in Adelaide, especially in the final 2 sets. Former Australian men's player Mark Philippoussis was credited for this improvement, Sabalenka revealing that he talked her through the issues. She'll now meet China's Wang Xinyu, who took out An Li. On the men's side, things were pretty straightforward as we saw no big upsets. The highest seeded player to fall out of the 3 was Nicolas Basilashvili, who was outlasted by Andy Murray again, the Scot winning 6-1, 3-6, 6-4, 6-7, 6-4. Even though Andy had a blistering start, I knew this wasn't going to be easy for him because the pair just played a 3-hour plus epic in Sydney last week. These two's matchups always make for an interesting watch because you have Basilashvili, who literally hits everything hard and with significant pace, and then Murray, who bestows an incredible defensive prowess with excellent scrambling, returning, and point construction. After nearly 4 hours, the 3-time major champ won the battle, sealing his first victory at the Aussie Open in 5 years. 3 years ago, we thought Murray was playing his farewell match in Melbourne when he suffered an emotionally charged 5th set exit to Roberto Bautista Agut. This turnaround after the hip resurfacing surgery has made for an incredible tennis story, and hopefully Andy does have enough in the tank to go deep in this event. Looking at his section, the Scot could play Jannik Sinner in round 3, who claimed a decent straight set win. Now, there was supposed to be an even higher seed here as Casper Ruud was at the top. Unfortunately, the world number 8 withdrew ahead of his first round match, revealing that he twisted his ankle during a practice session on Sunday and just didn't have enough time to heal. This of course is disappointing news for the Norwegian, but he's still pretty young and will have plenty more chances to go for the title down under. Stefanos Tsitsipas managed to subdue his injury concerns, opening up with a solid straight sets win over Mikael Ymer. Steph looked pretty strong, but his section still is not easy at all, as Dimitrov, Fritz, and Roberto Bautista Agut are still very much alive. Francis Tiafoe managed to get his first win of 2022, winning a 5-setter to set up a showdown with Taylor Fritz. Felix Auger-Aliassime also had a 5th set scare, coming back from 2-1 to be a surging Emil Buzuvary 6-4 love 6, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. The match wasn't really the best as the two hit double the unforced errors than winners. However, the Canadian, relying on his experience, was the steadier player in crunch time, which is why he's in the second round. Felix will need to keep his level high from here on out because he next gets Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, who's playing well at the moment, and then could meet Dan Evans in the third, who's playing even better. Andrei Rublev looks solid and is still on course to meet Marin Cilic in round 3. Another Russian, Daniil Medvedev, got by his opening round opponent without too much fanfare, beating Henry Laaksonen in straights. He now gets Nick Kyrgios, who is also dominant in his trick shot riddled win over Liam Brody. Should Medvedev get through that, he's probably going to be happy with his third round opponent, as Hugo Humbert, the only man to beat him thus far in 2022, lost to veteran compatriot Richard Gasquet. Maxime Cressy continued his superb summer down under, outlasting fellow big serving American John Isner in 5. Cressy could beat Diego Schwartzman in round 3, who got through his match in 3 sets. Looking ahead to the day 3 order of play, Badosa, Barty, and Nadal start us off on Laver, and then Naomi Osaka and Zverev close things out in the night. Svitolina, Shapovalov, Krejcikova, Sakari, and Monfils are on Margaret Court. Then Georgie, Keys, Berrettini, and Hurkacz take to John Cain. Azarenka and Bencic Anisimova on Kia Arena for whatever reason. That's it for this video, and let me know in the comments what you think about Fernandez's loss, Raducanu's win, and all the other results from day 2. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post the day 3 recap. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.